Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another beer review. Tonight we have a beer by three different breweries. We've got Schnoodlepip by it's Good George, isn't it? Good George, the Wild Beer Company, and Burning Sky as well. You may remember the Wild Beer Company from there's a lot of reviews about now, way back when I started. We did their green hop, their fresh hop beer, I believe. But as I said back then, these guys are known for being a little bit wacky and a little bit unusual, making some very interesting beers. So along with Good George, who are New Zealand, I believe, yeah, and Burning Sky. It doesn't say actually. Wild Beer Company. Mark Transfer Burning Sky, so I'm guessing they're an English brewery. Although I have not heard of them, but it'll be cool. I shall have to check them out and see. They did a collaboration beer. This one's here, and if you can read along the bottom there, look at the interesting things that they put into this beer. You've got pink pepper, they barrel aged it, passion fruit in it too, and hibiscus. So it's kind of like, wow, another one of those beers where someone's really pushed a boat out. Says it on the back here. Somerset Sharpham Park Spelt has been used for a full body. Pink peppercorns give a gentle sweet spiciness. Saison and Brettanomyces yeast lead to a dry spicy character that will continue to evolve. Wood aged in French red wine barrels for 3 months adds depth and oak flavours. Passion fruit brings a tart tropical fruit character. And 4-month aging process has been finished off with tangy hibiscus flowers. So, it's a funked beer. It is Saison and Brett, so we can expect some interesting character from them. It's oak aged, it's got peppercorns, it's got passion fruit. Man, it sounds absolutely lovely, does it not? Cool, let's crack the top on this and give it a try. It does say in the back here, 3 nationalities as well. Am I missing something? Oh, it's Brett Ellis, one of the brewers from Wild Beer, is actually from America. So there you go, 3 different nationalities. Burning Sky must be British then, shall we say. Pour it out into a glass. Now, there was a lot of fizz coming off the top there, so I'm going to try and be semi-gentle because I have that feeling that we're going to get a nice amount of head. There we go. I'm getting better. Right, that'll do. Okay, first things first. Look at the colour of that. Maybe it's not coming through very well on the camera, but there is a lovely twinge. It's almost like a pink beer. It looks a lot more amber from what I can tell on the camera, but I can guarantee you there is like this kind of twinge of pinkiness to it. It's definitely a beautiful beer. As I expected, it will be bottle conditioned, this one, he says. I'm going to double check. Yeah, most certainly is bottle conditioned. So there is going to be cloudiness in it, but that's cool. I don't mind. And there is a lovely head, and can you see the lacing on that? Sticking around. Really cool. Nice, thick, very, very small bubbles in that head. Nice, tiny, tiny bubbles. Lots of carbonation as well. Tons of carbonation all across the bottom of the glass. Awesome. Nice looking beer. I love that little red twinge to it. It's quite cool. I'm assuming that's from one of the ingredients, maybe the hibiscus, so potentially pink peppercorns. Let's get a nose on this. Oh, wow. If this beer was a member of a band, it would be a bassist, because that is funktastic. Holy moly. Oh, it's like, when you smell a funked beer, I always get kind of the leathery, lemony, musty horse blanket, some people describe it smells. This one's got like a lot more character to it, so the aroma hasn't just been overpowered by funky yeast. There's like a... Oh, there is something else to it. On the kind of fruity notes. I don't know whether it's hibiscus or not, or whether that's the smell I'm getting. Because unfortunately, I don't know the smell of hibiscus very well. I'm not that well educated in terms of gardening. Or it could be... It could be the spiciness from pink peppercorns as well, or it could indeed be passion fruit, but that would explain why it smells citrusy, I guess. So, anyway, regardless, that is a really interesting aroma, and it's a lot more aromatic than other funky beers that I've had before. So, well done on that. That aroma is really interesting. It definitely draws you in. Definitely draws you in. Okay, that's enough waffling. Let's get into this beer. It is looking lovely. Cheers. Oh yeah. Oh, that is nice. There is a wonderful tartness to this. Extremely, almost extremely crisp and dry end to the sensation in the mouth. Just like you'd expect from a funky beer. But this one's in particular ends very, very dry. Very, very dry indeed. The initial kind of rush of flavours that you get like a level of sweetness. Definitely, I think I'd definitely say it's the passion fruit because it tastes citrusy or tropical more, I guess. And it just tempers that initial onrush of funky flavours, and you get a lot of lemon in it too. And I get spiciness from yeast, definitely. Like a peppery sensation on the tongue is the best way I can describe it. And there is like a floral note to it too. That kind of runs over the entire mouth from the beginning, from the initial flavour all the way into the aftertaste. You get like a floral note. Kind of like you've got your face in a bunch of flowers in the back garden. Obviously not as strong as that, but it's a very subtle note, and I think it adds quite a lot to the flavour character because the funky flavours have been tempered really nicely by these different sensations. So instead of just being full-on funky flavour, they've managed to kind of encapsulate a few other interesting concepts. So you get a sweetness, which is usually what you get to kind of balance the sourness. But you also get it as a kind of citral, tropical, fruity flavours because it's obviously passion fruit. There's spiciness from the yeast, and I'm assuming also from pink peppercorns, and then also a floral note. So you do get these individual flavours coming through. Yeah, it's really, really moreish. I always find these that sour beers, Gurzes and Berliner Weisses, beers like that, despite the astringency and the sourness to them, they're extremely good thirst quenchers because your mouth does kind of fill with saliva afterwards. You get that tartness, and then the saliva washes back into your mouth, and it feels refreshing, and the sweetness kind of comes back. The tartness ends when your mouth feels so much lighter, and this beer in particular, because it has this extra kind of these extra elements, these extra flavours, the refreshing the refreshing flavour is even more stands out even more. I'd say it drinks super easy. I was just having a nosy then, seeing if I could find an ABV on it because I didn't mention it. And I actually, oh sorry, there we are, 6.5%. So it's a relatively strong little fellow, this one, but it doesn't at all taste it. It's such an easy sipping and smooth drinking beer because it is so complex. Those flavours are lovely. God, this is really nice. There's no other way of saying it. This is a fantastic example of a funk, of a Brett, of saison, of the importance of trying different yeast varieties or strains or Brett strains in beer because it's a whole different dimension. And I remember back in the first few reviews I did a Faro Lambic by Lindemans, I think. It was my first real dive into Lambic styles, into sour beers. And then shortly afterwards I did a Cantillon Rosé de Gambrinus, if I remember rightly, which again is another classic Lambic style beer. And it was my first try of proper sour flavours, of true sour flavours, and I'd never experienced it before. And it was just, I wouldn't want to say mind-blowing as if, beer is everything, but it was such an interesting idea that this is a beer, this is brewed like a beer is, it has the ingredients that beer has, but it's an entire different palate, an entire different flavour. And we had Anchorage Brewing Company from Alaska, and we had the Bitter Monk by them, which I did as a special. I think it was my 100th beer, in fact. No, it was IPA day, and that was absolutely mind blowing again. And this is another one of those beers I always seem to find a sour beer just ticks every single box, because you can have traditional beer flavours, and you can also have this added character, this Brett character, this different yeast character, the sourness, the dry tart finish, and it's so refreshing. It's so different. It's still so exciting and vibrant in my mind, and it's lovely. It's so nice and so interesting to have. I would highly, highly, highly recommend this to anyone. Please go out, please find some. It's a wonderful beer. I would really, really, really like to age this beer, to let it just sit and mellow, and just leave it for as long as I could do. What you find with the Gurzas in particular is they'll blend an old one with a much more mellow character with a new one, or you can get a completely brand new Gurza or an old one, and the prices vary in between. So you get a difference in kind of how much yeast flavour there is and how much hop and malt flavour, I guess. So I'd like to see this one when the yeast flavour is just taken hold of the beer, and everything's just mellowed through, and there's less of the full-on tartness, and the other flavours are allowed to just sing as well. It'd be really interesting to see. So my local bottle shop, I shall be going down and grabbing another one. I hope to age it. That is, of course, unless it's all gone. So, in terms of rating, I think I'll give this one, I think I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. So it's an amazing beer, really fantastic, really stupendously enjoyable, interesting concept with the different flavours in it, and I just think you should go out and buy it. Let's just be honest, it's a fantastic beer. The only reason why I shy away from giving it even a 9.5, which you all know is pretty much my highest grade, is because I've had that Anchorage Brewing Company's Bitter Monk, and that was just stupendously amazing. Same sort of concept, barrel aged, breaded, this, that, and the other thrown in there for added extra measure, and it was just absolutely amazing. And this is so close. If I age this just a bit, I think it would just develop even more character. So well done, Wild Beer Company, Good George and Burning Sky. This is brilliant, and thank you to every craft brewer out there who makes these sour beers at the moment. I know they're in vogue, but they are just so wonderful. It's so nice to see people being innovative and to try and bring this traditional Belgian style, traditional European style, if you want to include Berliner Weisses, and bring it into the mainstream, because it's a pity that they're not. So, comment, favourite, like, subscribe, all the usual jazz, and until the next beer review, cheers.